Hey guys, this is a clip from our podcast, Color Me Bloody. You can find us on iTunes at Color Me Bloody, MMA Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Color Me Bloody. You can also get in contact with us via email, colormebloodymma@gmail.com. All right. Thanks guys. We're a weekly podcast. Check us out. Let's move on to the main event. We got John Bones Jones versus Alexander the Mauler Gusafsson.
Whoa boy. Yeah, so that's a interesting one solely for the fact that this fight's really important for Jones. He wants to prove to all the naysayers that he doesn't just win fights because of his large size advantage. Well, his reach advantage mainly. He's got the biggest one in the UFC. Or I think it's on par with Stefan Struve, which is ridiculous because he's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
So he wants to prove all the naysayers wrong in that regard. And Alexander Gustafsson has improved a lot in all areas, mostly his wrestling and submission game. Do you remember when he fought Phil Davis?
Yes, I do.
Phil choked him out. He got him with an anaconda choke, and he's been training with him ever since, actually.
Yeah. I remember when that fight happened, a lot of people had been hyping both fighters so much. It was almost disappointing they had to fight so early in their careers. And I remember like Phil Davis was at like minus 500 in the betting lines. And I just remember being like, oh my God, really? And he did lose. But I think now in hindsight, we can realize maybe that fight could have went another way. You never know.
Yeah.
Alexander, here's my thing. The guy has yet to beat anybody that is that monumental. And he looked kind of rough against Shogun. He didn't beat him as convincingly as we thought he was going to, being such a bigger guy. And we thought the more skilled striker, it really should have been just an assault on the feet, especially the direction Shogun's career has been heading.
I guess for me, it's like, I find it difficult to think that anyone could really drub Shogun on the feet. Obviously we saw Jones do it. There were some other things in play there. And, I don't know. I thought Gustafsson did what was expected of him. I mean, he did land some clean power strikes on Shogun. He got a front kick in there. Probably learned it from Seagal. Definitely. He got a front kick in there and it hit hard. It landed home and, it rocked him. And he got some good punching combinations off too, but I don't know. I think he's improved greatly. And I think it's kind of an interesting fight, but I think Jones is going to take him down.
Since I've watched Gustafsson, I went from thinking maybe this guy is the best striker in the division, hands down, to thinking I'm sure he seems to have improved his wrestling base, and I'm sure his ground game's improved. I don't think of his striking to be as elite as I used to. We'll find out what happens.
Yeah, you say he hasn't beaten anyone, really good, I guess is basically what you're saying. But that's kind of hard to do now at light heavyweight, isn't it? Find someone really good.
Yeah, you're right.
No, you have all these guys like Shogun and Rashad and Dan Henderson that are kind of on their way out. I mean, what would he have to do in your mind to do that? Would he have to beat Glover Teixeira or something? A
striking match with Glover Teixeira or Machida would let you know. You don't know what Shogun's showing up. So it very well could have been the Shogun that went out there in the 2 fights with Machida, but it could have been the one that showed up for Mark Coleman. I mean, who knows? You don't know with him. So it's a hard one to pinpoint. But I mean, even Dan Henderson's Shogun, that Shogun, while he lasted and had a lot of heart, I mean, he didn't look that good. He didn't look elite. So it's really hard to say. There's a lot of strikers that Gustafsson could have faced that even like a Brandon Vera, I think would have been a little telling if they, how their Muay Thai matched up. I don't know. We'll just
he did have that fight with Thiago Silva.
Yeah, but I don't think, and how did that fight go?
It took place mostly on the feet, and he clearly outstruck him, and he dropped him big time with an uppercut.
Didn't Thiago Silva on 2 judges' cards, didn't he take that 3rd round?
Did he? I don't remember. I don't want to say.
I'm going to say Thiago Silva really turned it on at the end of that fight, which is another fight where Gustafsson, most people, I think most elite strikers would knock out Thiago Silva. I think. I don't know.
Not everyone's Machida, man.
I know.
Who knows? I just think the problem here is Jones is going to take him down. I mean, why wouldn't Jones take him down?
Because he likes to strike with people.
He does for a little while, yeah. I guess you're right.
If he's winning in the striking matchup, which I think he might not even have a reason to take Gustafsson down. I think Jones is better everywhere. I hate to say it. I do not like Jones. I do not like him. I don't think he's as elite in every area as people think. He's a complete mixed martial artist. He has a lot of tools. He is an insane fighter. I don't think he has this unbelievable striking that people are comparing to elite strikers. He gets caught sometimes. He doesn't really take advantage. When he fought Rashad and when he fought Rampage, it didn't seem like his striking was elite. It's just me. I don't know. I'm critical of the guy. I don't like him. So of course I'm going to put him under a microscope and maybe be a little nitpicky. Maybe I'm wrong. But you're right as far as you can't really prove yourself against anybody in that division right now.
Yeah, so, it's weird. They really need to develop it, and there's not too many strong guys outside of the UFC at light heavyweight. So I hope there's some dudes on the regional circuit killing it, or I think the next season in the Ultimate Fighter has some light heavyweights.
Yeah. And then also at heavyweight like if John Jones was to move up, a matchup with Junior Dos Santos would potentially prove himself. Yeah. I don't know why. There's a chance if Junior loses this next fight, maybe he could consider he's not a heavy. People don't realize, I know 205 is extremely light, but if you're cutting weight from 220 or even 225, like a lot of these guys do, if you're walking around 240 at heavyweight, it's not that big of a thing. Junior would have to lose a little bit of muscle, but Cain Velasquez or Junior could very well move down a weight class. I know they could physically. They may not want to.
Rampage was walking at 250 before the Glover Teixeira fight, and Mike Dolce had to get him down. And
people don't realize
killing him.
These guys, if you're fighting at 240, this is the other thing too. Man, how was the weight cut at heavyweight? You don't cut weight unless you're over 265. You don't cut weight unless you're weighing 280 or 270, okay?
Nope.
At heavyweight.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar and Alistair Overeem were cutting weight. Shane Carwin maybe.
These guys are not cutting weight. That's what they walk around at. When Mirko Krokop, Nogueira, those guys definitely could make light
They
heavyweight.
like it, and they don't have to hit a mark. It's the only division where they have like a huge range. What is it, 220 to 265? They don't have
No, 205 to 260.
Oh, all you have to do is be over the 205 limit? Over the light heavyweight?
You don't have to be 220.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to be 220.
See, I always thought they should have like a cruiserweight where it was
they
somewhere
should.
in there. But I don't know. So these guys, they don't want to do that. They just want to be able to eat what they want, train how they want, and just come in at whatever weight that's in that range.
Obviously, it doesn't matter that much, or else guys like Fedor and Cain Velasquez and those people wouldn't be as dominating over the bigger guys. Maybe we just realize that the optimal weight is about 240 to 250.
You also have to take their frame into account.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I don't think Junior Dos Santos would ever drop down to light heavyweight. Not because he wouldn't be able to do it. Just because of his attitude and the way it is. I don't think he would leave heavyweight.
I have absolutely no clue. It's never been talked about, but I'm telling you it could be possible. And I would just like to see Junior Dos Santos, not Junior Dos Santos, John Jones strike with somebody who it would have force him to prove himself on the feet.
Yeah.
The only elite striker that he's fought is Machida, and Machida was outpointing him on the feet.
And rocked him.
Is the more skilled striker. He's just not that durable, and he can't take a shot, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I said it before, but I want Jones to, if he beats Gustafsson, I want him to fight Teixeira. I want him to get that Daniel Cormier fight in. And then I want to see him at heavyweight and get up there and let's see what you're really about.
That'd be great. Cormier would test his wrestling.
Let's see you fight guys your own size.
Yeah, Cormier would test his wrestling, and a guy like Junior would test his, striking, and it would also test John Jones's wrestling. That's it too. John Jones' takedowns have not been what we thought. This guy was the best wrestler and striker in the division, and what we're finding out is he is just possibly the most complete mixed martial artist. At least above like welterweight, Yeah. At least above, like all the lighter guys are good at everything. But at least in the heavier weight classes, he's the most all around, well-rounded, B+ at everything fighter. I don't think he is, amazing or elite at anything in MMA other than just MMA. That's what he's mastered. So
I can agree with that.
That's my breakdown of John Jones. Regardless, I think my prediction, John Jones wins round 2 I think it's going to start on the feet. I think it's going to be rocking him on the feet. It could wind up submitting him as a result. But I'm going to go round 2 TKO.
Okay. I'm going to say later in the fight, like a round 3, round 4, submission. I think he chokes him.
Yeah. You know, before that, I want to say the BJ Penn, Kenny Florian fight, but for the longest time, there had not been a finish in the championship rounds of UFC fight. It happened. Anderson Silva might very well be the first person to ever do it in the 5th round.